From Wana Brands, welcome to Enhance Your Life. I'm your host, Jonathan Small, and each week I talk to people from all sorts of professions and backgrounds about how cannabis has enhanced their lives and how this healing plant can enrich your life too.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the Enhance Your Life podcast. My name is John Small, and I am your host. And my guest this week is Cory Getz, a.k.a. Cory the CBD Surfer. And Cory is a lifelong athlete with an astonishing message and an astonishing story. He suffered a near-fatal brain stem stroke in 2019 and completely lost the use of the right side of his body. Well, doctors said he was lucky to be alive, but that he might never walk again. But with the help of CBD and CBDA and physical therapy, he is fully recovered, and he is working on becoming a certified cannabinoid coach to help others enjoy good health without pharmaceuticals. Cory, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
So let's talk about what happened on that fateful day.
Yeah, that would be May Day, like May 1st, 2019.
Really, May 1st? Okay.
Yeah. You know, guys, I missed the signs of the stroke. I was walking down the hallway in our house, and I just completely lost my balance, fell into the wall, kind of like a drunken stupor, like you would think. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It was very similar to that. Yeah. And then, and my wife had actually witnessed it, and you know, she had tested me. You know, it seemed like it was a stroke test because she asked me if I could smile, if my arm was hurting, like you know, something was wrong. And then I had this real urge to go to sleep immediately, like, and it was really an inappropriate time for me to go to bed. We just had her brother came over from out of town. It was like 6 p.m. It was this uncommon, not what we're used to, and I was adamant about the issue that I had to go and rest. So we missed the stroke window. You have 3 hours in which to get to the hospital, and they can help you and they can do something. But I had missed the early signs, and and so I slept all night. Woke up in the morning, and things were worse. You know, they weren't to the level of losing the right hand side. It was a real slow stroke, so I continued to have continually getting worse over the course of 5 days.
So when you say worse, what were some of the symptoms?
Right. So it started out, with the moods and that sleeping and the balance, right? And,
yeah.
And then the next day it moved into like the speech, and then the day after it was my arm and my legs started to go on the second day, and So listen. So the next day, I woke up in a horrible mood. My wife went to work, and then somewhere in the midday, I called her to let her know what the symptoms were. Couldn't understand me on the telephone. Yeah.
Wow.
I was slurring so bad. I have a little bit right now, but I was slurring so bad that she couldn't understand me, and that was when we knew it was time to. You gotta go to the doctor right now. You know. So.
Yeah.
Man. I made the mistake. I drove myself, because
wow.
Guys, I didn't know. I don't know if it was denial or that I just didn't have the right information. I didn't understand at the moment I was having a stroke. You know, I really wish I had had some more information or, to see the signs coming, because I was missing them. I just kept on missing them, or I was not believing what I was seeing. I don't know exactly what it was. Denial. So anyhow, my doctor is very close, just a mile away from the house, just stop signs, no major streets or whatever. But I definitely remember having trouble with the braking and the acceleration. And I have an automatic, but I was kind of a couple times, I was acting like I had a stick shift, kind of
yeah.
And I remember well, that was weird. As I'm driving to the doctor, I was just thinking that was weird. So when I get to the doctor, and then I go to sign in, and I remember this specifically. And I had trouble picking up the pen, and then I said well, that's funny. I can't write my name, and and then that everybody behind the desk and the doctors or whatever, they all looked up and like it was a deer in headlights moment,
Yeah.
And like 5 people just turn around, like stared you at the face, and then just start scrambling, like to come and get me and take me to the back, and like so it was one of those like, okay, something serious is going on,
Right.
like that.
Did you
I'm
get
like,
scared
oh,
at that moment? Did you have the wherewithal to know, to be nervous and
no, I
scared?
still didn't know about the stroke. I'm such a positive person, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm just so dang positive. Like, so I just kind of like, okay, we're going into the room, all right, and I just didn't realize how serious we're talking. We're talking deadly serious. I mean, the type of stroke I had was a brain stem stroke. So it's not in your cerebellum, and it's not in your brain. It's in this brain stem. So it controls just about all your activities, like your blood pressure, your heartbeat, your lungs, your nervous system, like the amount of like serious tissue that's in the most confined space. And it was Luke Perry stroke, same stroke.
Wow.
Yeah, he got the wrong side. God, I feel bad for him. It's devastating.
Yeah, I mean, I think I saw a statistic that 20% of brainstem stroke victims don't survive.
Right,
and,
right.
And 70% suffer, some sort of permanent disability.
Yeah, like 40 of that 70 are like hospice, though, like serious like disability. Yeah, the other 30 they get like a wheelchair, crutches. They're definitely not running around hiking, surfing like at the highest level. Like which is amazing because my balance had gone first, so that was definitely a part of my rehab, the balance. Yeah, so I was at the doctor's, right? And then my wife had left her work at the time that I told her I was slurring. So she got to the doctor's about the same time that we were transporting me to the hospital. Yeah, and then so we got to the hospital, and then I remember I had very weird feelings going on while the stroke was happening, and they showed me like a chart, and I really kind of remember it being really funny, like abnormal things, like a mom in the kitchen washing dishes, but she's spilling the water everywhere, and the dishes are flying. The cat's in the sink, like licking the plates. I had all sorts of funny things going on, and they asked me to describe what was going on in the picture. And man, oh man, I just lost it. I literally like started hysterically laughing, like in the ER. Yeah, so. It just went to show that my emotion, everything, I wasn't thinking straight. I couldn't control, calm down. And it was very weird, man. It was a
weird experience.
Man, I don't like it. Yeah, I don't like it.
I'm sure it's hard to go back and think about it.
We went to the CT, did the CT scan. That's where they found the stroke. Yeah. And, they couldn't really do much because we're past the 3-hour point that they can do something. So they really couldn't do much for me. And
it's still emotional for you now. I see.
Yeah, it racks me up, man. Because anyhow, okay, hold on there one sec. All right, so I'm hooked up all to the machines.
You want to get a glass of water? You don't have to.
Okay.
Yeah, get a glass of water.
All right, I can calm down. I can.
I'm so sorry to make you have to relive that, but I can just see that it's still there.
Yeah, it's still raw. No, it's part of the story though.
Yep.
No, I've done like high emotional intelligence training to try to overcome this. Because it needs to be part of my story. And I walk an emotional tight line, and that's every day for me. The stroke left lasting effects, and emotions on edge are one of them.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't have a middle zone anymore. I have all or nothing. Yeah, I have a 120 and a 0. I don't have any of that 50, that middle room. So we were next day in the hospital, right?
Yep.
So I was hooked up to the machines, all sorts of stuff wrapped around me. And I kept on trying to get up to do my own, go to the bathroom, be independent, but they kept on like coming in, telling me I couldn't do that. Yeah, it was dangerous. Like I said, that weird part of me that had the denial, but that comes into play later, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So my wife comes in, and the very first thing I say to her is that I'm going to surf by my birthday. That was the very first thing out of my mouth. Like, and that was in 6 months.
So that was the first, was that in your mind the whole time that I'm a surfer and I want to continue surfing? I'm not going to let this stop me from surfing.
Yeah. I was still in denial with everything. Like why my leg didn't work, why my arm didn't work. I don't know. Like it was just a statement of fact that I'm like,
yeah, I'm going to surf.
Like, yeah. Like all this shit doesn't matter. Like we're just going to overcome this. Like,
you still had some waves to catch. Yep.
No, there's a lot to be said about this positive mental attitude. I'm not saying that my outcome was going to be terrific. I didn't know that I could get back in the water surfing. Like I knew I could get back in the water. I could be on a stand-up paddleboard. I could be on a boogie board. I could be on a longboard, right? I mean, I didn't know I'd be shortboarding,
Mm-hmm.
but one way or another, I was going to get back to the water. Yeah. Whatever form that was acceptable to me. Yeah, at that point.
And we should say you were quite an athlete. I mean, you are quite an athlete even before the stroke.
Oh yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your athleticism before the stroke.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I come from a high level swim team, water polo high school. And so I was in junior high, I was doing swim team on the YMCA swim club, and then moved into a neighborhood and a school that was really a water polo swim team. Like that was their main
champions,
thing.
Yeah.
Right. They were CIF, like in California, competing for the CIF championships every year. Yeah. So I joined them. And so I knew from a early age, like a high level athletic workout. And during my rehab, as soon as I could get back into a pool, then I moved all my rehab to the pool. Yeah, because then I could do my arm and leg and hand rehab pretty much simultaneously. Yeah, before that I had to do them all individually.
When you started your rehab, what were the symptoms of your?
The whole right hand side was head paralysis. Yeah,
wow.
I could move my arm and I could move my leg just a little bit, but not with purpose. I could only jolt them and swing them and maybe fake kick a little bit, but very weak and very unorganized, right? And so it wasn't completely gone, but yeah, I definitely remember learning how to walk again. Yeah, because I had the therapist, they had the belt on me, holding me up, and he's like, "Are you ready to walk on grass for the first time?" And I said, "Hell yeah, I'm ready." And I almost ate it the first time I stepped on grass because my brain couldn't calculate the angles. I don't know. It was really a defining moment. I couldn't believe it. It was that difficult for me to learn how to walk on grass.
Yeah. So what's that feeling like? I mean, it's hard to even imagine. So your brain is telling you do this thing and your body is just not responding, huh?
Well, yeah, it didn't know what was level. It didn't know what one of those angles was level. I had so many angles going on that because I stepped, it was barefoot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was barefoot. So you felt all the ridges. And it kind of threw you off, started to make you off balance. Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, this whole time, the relearning part has been my favorite part.
Really? Why is that?
Yeah, I mean, in retrospect, because after my regular rehab, I also wanted to paint and color, and not that I'm an artist necessarily, but I would occasionally paint and color, and that was part of who I was. So I wanted that back. That rehab took an additional 6 months beyond that surfing rehab. That now, by the way, that I went from learning how to walk, learning how to walk again to surfing in 108 days. So
that's amazing.
That was really remarkable. That's with the help of CBD. I use cannabis CBD, not hemp CBD. The chemical CBD is the same in both plants, but I'm a cannabis user, so I believe in full spectrum.
Yeah. Well, so let's talk about this. Step back here for a moment. So you start your rehab. At what point did you introduce cannabis CBD to your regimen?
Okay. Yeah. Right before the stroke, we had been going to some cannabis education at our dispensary, like a cannabis 101 class.
Really? Why was that?
We just want to educate ourselves. We have a son with autism, and then we were hearing a lot of things about CBD and autism.
Right.
And and the girls, the whole plant access for autism girls were coming to the dispensary to do a high levels talk on CBD and autism. So that was what landed us there.
So you were educating yourself. That's such an interesting coincidence. Yeah.
Right. And the following month, they had a education, the CBD 101, or I'm sorry, cannabis 101. Yeah. So an introduction to the endocannabinoid system, why terpenes and, cannabinoids work for your body. And then it was more a low level introductory class for
beginners,
people that newbies, but we wanted to know more, that we're the curious,
the canna curious, they call you.
Right. I mean, this is it. I've been a user my whole life. Didn't necessarily. I knew it was helping me in numerous amounts of ways, but it wasn't being medically expressed.
Yep.
And finally, we're getting the science behind why it was working for me and why it was relieving me of ADHD and like anxiety and like. I'm a sativa user, so I use the more hyper sativas, and it actually helps calm me down instead of the being on meds, and Adderall and whatnot. I had a whole bout with the Adderall, and I'm done with all that. And
so you're a lifelong user of cannabis.
Yes.
And then this horrible accident, stroke happens, and you kind of immediately started thinking, well, maybe cannabis can help me in my recovery.
Right. Yeah. So shortly thereafter, my wife had left the hospital and went, and because it was really ironic. We had won the door prize at the at those two events. Both events, we won the door prize. The first one was great, it was all, but the second one, we felt like we should give it to somebody else, and we had this whole discussion with the owner of the dispensary, and she didn't care. She was okay with it.
Yeah.
Because she had talked to us the previous one. So what it was an introduction to her. She's a high level speaker on endocannabinoids. I mean, she's in Orange County NORML helping us. LA and Orange County NORML, we lobby for changing marijuana laws. So she's a high level advocate and speaker in that organization. And so my wife went to her. And we were already on a first name basis, and she had known about the United States government patent on CBD recovery and stroke. Which is U.S. government patent. Kidding.
Yeah, the U.S. government has a patent.
U.S. government patent 6630507B1. If you're interested, that's 6630507B1. Stroke recovery and CBD. It's in there. The government knows about it. And, these things are not known to us. My doctor didn't know about it. And it wasn't recommended that I use plant medicine in my recovery. It was definitely recommended that I don't use plant medicine.
Yeah.
I don't recall them saying that it could be beneficial. Now, early on, like I said, I'm a sativa smoker, right? So I wasn't feeling the need to get high. Like the first month was just brutal. Okay. So you're just hanging on for life. Every day is like, you feel on the edge. Like, man, what it does to you is unbelievable.
The stroke.
So the second month when I started getting some recovery going, I started thinking, maybe I'd want to do a tincture, like at night, so because early on I was sleeping like 17 hours a day.
Oh,
and
wow.
So when I started to recover a little bit in the second month and wasn't sleeping as much, we thought it maybe would be beneficial for me to continue sleeping. So we used a heavy myrcene indica tincture.
Right.
To
myrcene is a terpene. Yeah.
Right. And by introducing the myrcene into my diet, we actually helped the CBD pass the blood-brain barrier easier, which was another added benefit that we didn't realize was happening behind the scenes. I went back to investigate why my recovery is so much better than everybody else's. And I do believe it. This is the key to it. Full spectrum CBD, the myrcene to help the CBD pass the blood-brain barrier, tons and tons and tons and tons of rehab, tons and tons and tons of rehab, guys.
Of course.
Guys,
can't
you
just
can't
do CBD.
just show up when the guy shows up at your house. You can't just rely on that many reps. That's not going to do it. That's like 10% of the reps you need. You have to just continue to do it. And I can't stress that enough. Like I was reading studies that an average like 1,000 reps a day, guys. 1,000 reps a day is what you're aiming for your
1,000
hand.
reps of what?
Just rehab on your hand or your arm or your leg.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just 1,000
because I had
reps.
to do each. Like I woke up in the morning, I would work on my leg, and then I'd go back to sleep. Then I woke up at noon, and then I would work on my arm. Then I'd go back to sleep, and I wake up, I'd do my hand, and then I would go back to sleep, and then finally I'd do speech later.
Yeah.
It was a full day, and that was all my energy was rehab. Like luckily her dad came and moved in with us.
Your wife's dad.
Yeah. And gave us the ability for me to devote every day to rehab.
Were you working at that time when this stroke happened?
No, we were very lucky. I had quit work and became the stay-at-home dad for our autistic son when our daughter moved out.
Right.
Yeah. So shortly before that, I had become the full-time parent at home for an autistic child. So yeah, so I did. Yeah, we had already made the adjustments. We already adjusted the income.
Well, I wouldn't say you're lucky, but you're definitely lucky in one way. But yeah, so you have. I know. So you have.
I call it the stroke of luck. So yeah,
that's nice.
Because my life was bound to be proponent for the plant. You know, I'm a reggae lover. I'm a Rastafarian. To be out there speaking for the plant. And be involved in changing the laws and in year 2022, it's like, I can't believe it hasn't happened yet. I can't believe I get the opportunity to step into this weird space and be that kind of person that I really, they say you always knew a guy in high school. I was that guy.
Right.
I was that guy. Yeah. I didn't sell or anything, but everybody knew that if you wanted good pot, Cory's got the good pot.
All right. You were Spicoli. You were Spicoli. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I love Spicoli.
Yeah. So 108 days pass. Is that when you were able to get on a surfboard again?
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Tell me about that day.
It was great. Yeah, it was really good. So I invited one of my high school, one of the kids that I grew up with on the block. Like I've known him my whole life. Yeah, as my lifeguard because I wanted somebody in the water to look after me. But by that point, I was swimming 3 miles in a pool every week. So I was balancing this thought of I'm fully fit. I'm fitter than I've ever been with still being scared, to be by myself. Yeah. It was it was a weird thing. Yeah. It took me a long time to get over to be by myself again. I'm still a little bit scared of that. To tell you the truth. I always have a phone with me. So yeah.
I understand.
It grabs me. Yeah. Okay. So that wonderful day was, and I brought my parents down and my wife and my kid were there. Yeah. It's on my, Instagram. You have to scroll pretty far back, but it's on, at Cory the CBD Surfer on Instagram. And, my mom filmed it. And, I stood up on the very first wave. I actually caught the very first wave that I paddled for, stood up first time. Wasn't great, but I rode it all the way to the end, and my mom gives a little Emerald, she said, "Bam!" right at the end of it. It was kind of cute video. I love it, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, I just remember I was very surprised I could stand up on, and that was a shortboard I used on the very first day.
Wow, that's tough.
And
I couldn't do that, and I didn't have a stroke.
Yeah,
yeah, that's amazing.
And so I did shortly thereafter, I started surfing on my own because I had to, out of choice. And I used a medium longboard one day, and I just didn't like it. I just said, man, if I'm going to relearn again, I might as well relearn on the board I'm going to ride. And that's a shortboard. So at that point, I made a decision that I wasn't going to learn to longboard, which I still don't know really how to do.
Yeah.
I was out with my buddy the other day, and it's harder than it looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way different than shortboard.
So tell me what Cory, the CBD surfer, is and does. And I mean, we've heard your incredible story, but how have you taken what you've learned from that experience and shared it with the world?
Okay. Yeah. The positivity is key, right, guys? Because if you tell your body that we're going to heal, okay, let's take your mindset if you're thinking you're paralyzed and you're thinking that we're going to wake up tomorrow and now we're going to be left-handed and now we got to do everything, and you have a negative spiral. You don't want that. You don't want that because you tell your body and it will respond. I can't tell you how. Listen, I don't know that my recovery is going to be any better than anybody else's, but I believe with just a positive mindset, it will be better. Than
and not just a positive mindset. Do you encourage people to experiment with CBD?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Everywhere I go. Yeah. And listen, I use cannabis CBD. So I'm in California. So, and my company's Chemistry out of Oakland. So trychemistry.com. I use a full spectrum cannabis CBD.
All right. So in closing here, we always ask this question to our guests, and you've had such an incredible life and story. I mean, how has cannabis enhanced your life?
Oh, man. It's enhanced my life so much so that I'm starting my own brain injury group. And so I partnered with Orange County Normal, and they've started this. Well, I don't know how to put this. Let's see. There was a bill passed called SB 34 that allows dispensaries to use their unused marijuana. When we legalized, they made it part of the laws that you can only keep it on the shelf for a year. So after a year, they can't keep it on the shelf anymore. And so they had an excess amount that they couldn't utilize. It was being incinerated and destroyed, right? Until SB 34 came along, which was a law that allowed them to legally pass that to medical patients and then be able to write that off on their taxes.
Wow.
So it was a double benefit. So me seeing this and recognizing the need, also through my friend Eric Actual at Veterans Canada Coalition, had invited me to start my own program because he runs it through LA Normal, and they pass it out through the veterans organizations, which are great, and they have so many veterans organizations, and they're all organized and all ready to go, and tons of them are medical patients, and tons of them find relief with the PTSD, and so that was their initial first of the compassionate care is what we're calling it. Compassionate care. Yeah. And so that was their initial run with the veterans, but now they kind of want to expand to other medical patients. So I'm in line. We should be starting the program here pretty soon.
That's great.
It's ready to go. Let's put it that way. It's ready to go. We're just waiting on like a space to open up to start it, and then it'll be used for brain injured adults with medical cards. They're going to come. I'm going to run like a symposium, like a little bit. We'll work on grounding techniques, breathing techniques, because a lot of us have trouble with the emotions. So like some sort of an emotional.
Yeah.
We just don't want you to lose it, right? So when you're starting to see the panic attacks come on or the anxiety's on the rise, right? And then we're going to try to give you some techniques to balance that out, to take a moment to ground yourself, to like deep breathing, and to try to like intervene, before the full blown thing happens. And then at the end of our little chit chat, it's not going to be the round robin that some of the other ones are. Like, I mean, I want to hear everybody's story, but that's not going to be that full bummer.
Right.
I don't mean to be a bummer. Like, I don't want to call it a bummer because it's our survival stories that we're talking about. Those are important, but some of those things are really rough. You go to them and it's like a round robin of one sad story to another, to a worse, to another, and just it's heavy. It's heavy.
Yeah.
I don't want it. I don't want mine to be so heavy.
Well, people want to find out more about what you're up to and when that starts and everything. What's the best way to follow you?
Yeah, Instagram. Yeah, Real Getz, REAL, or I like to say it Real Getz because I like soccer. And Cory the CBD Surfer.
Okay.
So both of those, Instagram. You can DM me. I'm pretty much a wide open book, and you can talk to me. I'm one of those that you can get.
Yeah, you can talk to. I can see you're very talkative.
I'm really starting to get busy though. It's really
great.
starting to pick up.
Well, congratulations. Yeah. I mean, it's been really a wonderful recovery story and really an inspiration. And thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Cory Getz.
My main purpose is to get stroke people, guys, even if your grandparent or a cousin or anybody that had a stroke, please offer them CBD, but offer them CBD, but look into the CBD that you're buying. I can't stress that enough. Look into where it's grown. It has a tendency to pull heavy metals out of the ground. So, I mean, if you want CBD in California, I'm going to recommend chemistry.
Okay.
Cannabis CBD, full spectrum. And thank you for having me. I really appreciate all the effort. You really have a high-class podcast. I mean, I really was glad that I jumped through a couple hoops to get to you, and I felt really honored.
Well, I'm glad you found me because you have a great story, and I appreciate you coming on. So thank you.
Enhance Your Life is brought to you by Wana, the #1 infused product in North America. Wana's entire process is designed to deliver the same great experience time after time. They have spent years fine-tuning their recipes so that their products are delicious, consistent, and potent. For more information, head on over to wanabrands.com. That's Wana, WANA, brands.com.